Hi, my name is Madeline, and in this tutorial we are going to paint this whimsical, soft fairy tale landscape together. I paint this landscape with handmade watercolors. You do not need to use the same watercolors that I use. You can just use similar colors or similar shades. But I will swatch out the colors that I use in this tutorial. I use a light yellow, a pale pink, a pale blue, a pale purple, a few different shades of green, and a brown. I also use a black or dark Payne's gray to paint the birds, but you can use any dark color. As far as brushes, I use some mop brushes and some round brushes. You can use any mop or round brush you like that is a good fit for your landscape size. I also use a makeshift tree brush, which is just an old brush that I've repurposed for painting trees. And then I also use a few liner brushes for fine line details. I paint in my Etcher Everyday Sketchbook. You can paint in any sketchbook or with any type of watercolor paper. Just make sure that the size of the paper is a square. We are going to start off by sketching the book that we will be painting on the bottom. I'm going to have the spine of the book line up with the spine of our sketchbook. And I'm just going to give that bottom part of the book some shape. So that's going to be the cover of the book, and then we're going to sketch out just where the pages are going to be. And then now I'm going to grab my round brush and I'm going to grab some dark brown. And we're going to paint the spine. We want the covers of the book more or less to be sort of symmetrical to each other. And then for the pages of the book, I am going to grab a sort of shimmery yellow color right here. I want the pages to be yellow, but I also want them to have kind of like a hint of sparkle. So I'm going to use this warm yellow to paint the pages. And we don't want the dark brown to bleed into our pages either. So be careful not to let those two colors touch. I probably could have dried it. Actually, I'm going to dry it so that I don't get any bleeding. Now we are going to paint the sky. I'm going to grab my largest mop brush and I'm going to grab some lavender color. And I want the uppermost part of our sky to be a little bit purple. To give it a sort of fairy tale feel. And then as we go down, I'm going to grab some light blue. And then as we get closer to the book, I'm going to bring the sky in so that it feels like this landscape is sort of coming out of the book. And we want the sky to sort of come right on top of the book. And I like how soft that looks, so I'm gonna dry this sky layer. Now that that is dry, let's start painting the tree. So I'm gonna grab my round brush again, and I'm going to grab a sort of light brown color. So I'm gonna grab some brown. So it's the same brown that I used to paint the book pages, but I just want to dilute it a little bit. So I'm going to start with the trunk right here. And then I'm going to grab my tree brush, and this brush is a brush that I have sort of made on my own. It's a very old Princeton Heritage Round 2, and what I do with it is I sort of smash it onto my palette, and it gives me really cool tree-like textures. So don't do this with the brush that you like, do it with the really old brush. And I'm gonna grab several shades of green, and we're gonna start painting the top of this tree. So I'm gonna start off with a lighter green. And we want the tree to sort of encompass this area. So I'm gonna grab some darker green now. Sort of darken the bottom. And then towards the end, I'm gonna towards the edges, I'm gonna give it kind of like a more frayed look. And if there's some holes, like right here, I would leave those so that it looks kind of more realistic. And then now I'm going to grab a green, a light green. I'm going to mix it in with some yellow, that same yellow that I painted the bottom of the pages, and I'm going to give some foliage to the ground right here. And then now I'm going to grab some pink, and I'm going to add some pink. So it looks like we have some soft flowers. And the key to keeping this loose is just to kind of make quick brush strokes. Add a little bit more green. And then now I'm going to grab a brush that I like to use for splatters. I'm going to grab some of that pink that I just pulled. And we're going to cover our sky, and we're just going to do a few splatters right on top of the ground. And then now I'm going to grab a liner brush, and I'm going to pick up some brown again. And actually, we're going to dry this layer first. So I'm going to grab a liner brush and brown, and we're going to sort of outline the pages of the book. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Don't worry if they're not straight. This is a very loose and whimsical feeling landscape. I'm going to use my liner, and I'm going to grab some black. And I'm going to sort of outline the edge of our book with black. And I'm going to grab my round brush again, and I'm going to grab some more brown, and I'm just going to sort of give our tree trunk some more texture because it looks a little bit pale to me. There we go. And the last thing we're going to do is add some birds. So I'm going to grab another liner brush, but on the thinner side, thinner than the one that I just used. And I'm going to paint some birds, and the way that I paint birds is I grab a really, really watery mixture of black or Payne's gray, and we'll just start on this left side. And I'll paint a few on the right too. And that's it for our fairy tale landscape. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit subscribe, and if you enjoy my content, use the following QR codes to either find me on Patreon or Instagram.